Hello, how are you doing? Amazon Route53 as your GoDaddy. What does this even mean? Well, it turns out that just like GoDaddy, you can register new web domains using Route53. Now, there are a lot of situations where using GoDaddy or Namecheap is your best option for managing your domain. But if you're engineering a system from the ground up, and there's a web-facing component that will be accessed through a domain, such as abc.com, for example, then using Route53 to manage your domain might be your best option. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to quickly provide an overview of what we're going to cover in this video. First, I'll give you an overview of Route53. After that, I'll step through Route53 workflow to register a new domain. Next, I'll introduce to you hosted zones. Lastly, I'll summarize the key points you should take away from this video. Okay, let's get into it. At a high level, Route53 has three key features. The first is Route53 is a DNS service. Route53 is integrated with a distributed global network of DNS servers around the world. For example, Route53 can translate domain names like abc.com into IP addresses, such as 192.0.10.20, for example. I've created a video giving a broader overview of Route53, and I've talked in great detail about DNS services and Route53. This video is called URL to IP address in AWS Cloud. Feel free to check it out if you want to learn more about this. The second key Route53 feature is health checking. Route53 can be configured to send automated requests over the internet to your system to verify that it's reachable, available, and functioning. The third key feature is that Route53 is a domain registration service. Similar to GoDaddy and Namecheap and other domain providers, you can use Route53 to register new web domains. So for example, if you wanted abc.com and it were available, you could use Route53 to register this web domain and get ownership of it. This video focuses on this third key feature. Next, I'll step through the Route53 register new domain workflow. Now, in the AWS console, I navigate to Amazon Route53 homepage, and I click the Get Started button. I select Register a Domain workflow, and I click the Get Started button. I enter the domain I want to acquire. In my case, I enter newmachina.us and click the Search button to see if this web domain is available or if it's already taken. The domain, newmachina.us, is available, and it will cost me $15 per year. Route53 shows other similar domain options below that I could choose from if I wanted. If the domain newmachina.us were already taken, it wouldn't allow me to select it. I included an AWS documentation link showing you all the web domain suffixes supported by AWS. Prices vary depending on the suffix you choose, so please take note if you decide to use a different suffix. In the interest of time, I will continue moving forward, so I click the Select link. Now I click the Proceed to Checkout button. Now I click the Next button to keep moving the workflow along. I enter all my information in the form and click the Next button. I confirm my information is correct, and then I click the Submit button. The registration process takes a few minutes. The blue banner indicates the registration is in progress. After a few minutes, I check the status, and the registration has completed. I click the Request link, and I can see that the registration request has completed successfully. I click the Registration Domains link and see my new domain. I now click the Hosted Zones link, and I see that Route53 created a hosted zone for my newmachina.us domain. I click the domain to see the detail. When Route53 created the hosted zone for newmachina.us, it automatically created an NS record and an SOA record. The NS record, also known as a name server record, contains a list of all the DNS name servers that have authority for this domain. The SOA record, also known as a Start of Authority record, stores important information about the domain, such as the email address of the administrator, when the domain was last updated, and how long the server should wait between refreshes. At this point, for our domain newmachina.us, we have an NS record and an SOA record. Assume that we have a website running on an EC2 instance server with an IP address of 196.0.10.20. As it stands right now, we still can't get to that website via our new Machina.us domain. So how do we fix this? Well, we can add an A record to our hosted zone. A records are used when we want to translate a domain name to an IP address. So now I'll do this. So in the hosted zone for new Machina.us, I want to create an A record. So I click Create Record button. For the record name, I enter development. This is a subdomain, so that this record set will be used for the URL containing the domain name development.newmachina.us. I select the record type of A record. I enter the IP address 192.0.10.20. I set the TTL at 15 seconds. This is time to live. This is how long the record set is cached in the DNS server. I will select a simple routing policy, which maps one IP address endpoint to my domain. I click the Create button. Now, quick note, I don't really have a website on a server at 192.0.10.20. So once this change propagates, if you were to go hit it with a browser, there wouldn't be anything there. But we can still confirm that this A record will be created and propagated to DNS servers. So now I go back to the hosted zone records to summary view, and a new A record is now shown up in the summary view. But as you can see with the blue banner, it may take some time for the changes to propagate within the DNS system. I click the View Status button to see the status of the change. The detailed view shows that changing is still pending. Once a record set change is complete and propagated, you can click the checkbox and see the detail on the right-hand panel view. Here you can edit values and save again. Now note, if you do change the values, you will have to allow them to propagate through the DNS system, similar to when you first created this record. Now, one more thing I wanted to quickly show you. I'm running on a Linux-based client laptop, a MacBook in my case. So I open up a command line window and I run the dig command. I enter in dig space development.newmachina.us. I hit enter. Dig gets DNS information and prints it out to the console. You can see that the DNS now has mapped development.newmachina.us to 192.0.10.20. This is exactly what I would want to see. In this case, dig is actually querying the DNS global network of servers, and so it confirms that our change is propagated. If you're on a Windows-based laptop, you won't have the dig command, but you can open up a console window and run the nslookup command. You can enter in nslookup space development.newmachina.us. Similar to dig, nslookup gets DNS information from the global network of DNS servers, and then it prints it out to the console. You can see that nslookup was able to confirm that development.newmachina.us is mapped to 192.0.10.20. Again, this is exactly what we would expect. Visually, here are the changes to our hosted zone. We had the original NS and SOA records, and now we've created a third record set, which is our A record. Our A record maps the domain development.newmachina.us to the IP address 192.0.10.20. Again, if we did have a host with that IP address, we had a web server and a website deployed to that server, we'd be able to reach it through our browser. So this is good. Quick note, I have a video giving an overview of Route 53 in more detail. I talk about all the different record types, all the different routing policies. It's called URL to IP address in AWS Cloud. Feel free to check it out if you want more details on Route 53. So in summary, Amazon Route 53 allows you to register domains like GoDaddy or Namecheap. There are a lot of situations where using GoDaddy or Namecheap is your best option for managing your domains. But again, if you're engineering a system from the ground up, and there's a web-facing component that will be accessed through a URL such as abc.com, then using Route 53 to manage your web domain is probably your best option. When you're managing a domain in Route 53, you'll get a hosted zone. The hosted zone contains all the routing rules on how Route 53 will route a URL to backend systems. Note, you need to own the domain or have administrative permissions to create a hosted zone routing rules for that domain. There are many types of records you can create in hosted zones. There's A records, C names, alias, but they all give you the flexibility to map different kinds of URLs to backend systems. Route 53 is fully managed, and there's no servers to provision, and there's no infrastructure to manage. So all videos referenced will be in the YouTube description. I invite you to watch other videos on my channel. If you like the way I'm packaging up this content, please consider subscribing. And one last thing, we all love technology. We're all excited about innovation in the cloud with machine learning, AI. But don't forget to carve out some time to live in the real world. Go outside, go swimming, go hiking, move your body. And if you do, let me know in the comments. And with that, have a great day. Thanks.